Hey everybody, it's the Williams here. Krista and I wanted to try something a little bit different than usual, so we'll usually send a monthly newsletter or maybe a little bit more frequently or a little bit less frequently depending on the season, and give just an update about ministry or ministry partnership or what God's doing in that current season, whether that's for us, it tends to be like a week of welcome season and summer projects and things like that, or retreat or whatever their event is happening in our ministry context. But we thought it would be fun to send you guys a video. That way, maybe you can listen to it while you're going about your day doing something, and just a different way for you guys to like actually see our face and hear our voice. Because we're so thankful for you guys. Really, we have a team out there of there's like 80 people that are getting our newsletter, and we're really thankful for that. And you might not get to see that or feel that or know that there's like a team kind of in that space, but we're really thankful for it. And so we just one thing we wanted to do is make sure you guys could actually see us and hear from us, and hear us say that we're thankful for you and we appreciate you guys, especially in the current season we're in of preparing to church plant. And all of you that are partnering in prayer and partnering financially, it means the world to Krista and I. It's just been a big answer to prayer. So we're thankful for you guys. And we're just excited to give you a little update. So what we kind of want to talk about in this video is catch up on our summer. So give you the debrief of what we did this summer in San Diego. I'm sure many of you have heard me or read about me writing about Elevate, our summer project we do in San Diego. But maybe we'll get to explain it a little bit more here, and then that'll help solidify what that is in your guys' minds. And then maybe some takeaways we had from that. Now we're back in Bellingham, and then we want to share with you guys what we're currently doing and currently working on now that we're back in the city. So Chris is going to tell you guys a little bit about Elevate and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure all of you have probably heard about Elevate. You know that that's where we spent our summer this past 5 weeks, but we really wanted to give you kind of a snapshot into the what and the why of Elevate, so you know why we believe it's so important, why we chose to leave Bellingham and go to San Diego, even though that wasn't the worst trade to make out. But the why behind Elevate and the what of it is our church really wanted a way to allow students to, even over the summers, continue to learn and grow in their faith. So way back when, and Resonate's kind of starting years, they noticed that students would come to college, they would be involved in community, and they would learn and make all these leaps and bounds of growth. And then they would go home for the summer and fall back into old ways, into old habits, into old just kind of the life that they had come from. And so in response, the leaders at Resonate decided to make what we now call Elevate. And the goal of this is to, instead of just sending students back home for the summer to fall into old habits, to just do what they did before, we wanted it to be a platform where they could learn more about what it is to follow Jesus. They could really learn how to abide with God, and then learn what we do in light of that. So over the course of 5 weeks, students live in community. They live with students from other sites. Most of these students are freshmen in college, but the age ranges through the years. But they learn 4 competencies, and those competencies are abide, connect, disciple, send. And each week they have a rhythm of learning about those contexts from pastors or from the directors through labs. They learn about different life skills like budgeting. They learn how to live in community. They learn how to cook. They do a huge cooking competition. And so they just are able to learn all of these competencies that they might not if they had just gone home. And then what we teach in light of that is, now that we know, now that we have acted as disciples of Jesus, we don't just stop there, but now you can go back and make more disciples of people at your site, people that you meet, people that you lead to the Lord. So that's kind of an overview about what Elevate is and the why behind we do it.
Yeah, and there's so many non-measurable, non-metric things we could celebrate about Elevate, and things that happened and are happening, and just sanctification that has happened in students' lives. The reality of what Elevate has tended to be for a lot of people's lives is massive. That's where I think I really experienced a clarity that the Lord was calling me into the pastorate, and that I wanted to plant a church one day, be a church planter. And it is because I saw gospel community lived out like I had never seen it before at Elevate. For me as a student, which is also where Krista and I met in 2017 when we were both students at Elevate. So it was really just a joy to be back and be directors married this summer for the first time. And I proposed in San Diego last summer. So Elevate's just in San Diego, it's been a fun and sweet place for our relationship. But a couple measurable number of things maybe we wanted to celebrate from Elevate is that 5 people got saved this summer, and that's between both our semester project and our quarter project. But we had 5 people give their life to the Lord and become new creations in Christ, and we were so excited about that. Some of those people from our newer church plants, like in Reno, Nevada, and just a cool story. One of the more recent ones that happened at Elevate, the last ones, I guess, was a girl named Margot, and her story coming from France, and then just a wild story of how she got on project. And she was 25. Like, nothing about her being there was like the typical Elevate student or made any sense. And when her room leader asked her, like, do you want to follow Jesus? She's like, yeah, I just need someone to show me how. And then got to watch her be baptized at the end of the summer. And so just such a sweet summer to celebrate 5 people getting saved. There was one week where it was 3 days in a row someone got saved. It was just there was a party that week, and we got to celebrate. It was so fun. So and then even having that girl Margot share her testimony at one of our teaching nights, there was a non-believer there named Tyler who then was like, man, that's it. That's what I'm missing. So when he heard the testimony of Margot who had been saved all of like a day, then he put his faith in Christ. And so just cool to see how the Lord works through people being saved and their testimony and that sort of thing. We're also celebrating baptism. We had 24 students get baptized this summer, just more than we've ever had. And on our quarter project, we did 16 at the end of the summer. So many that we had me and another director out there baptizing people, because it would just take so long to have 16 people share their stories and baptize them. And so we just, such a cool, Chris and I were both saying we've been there. She's been there for 5 summers. I've been there for 4. And we've seen a lot of just massive moments, but like baptism moments at Elevate, baptism Sundays. And there was just something about this one that was special. Like the testimonies were so gospel centric, so clear, and just so authentic and real. And so we were just really excited about this particular service and to see these people. And the stories of this baptism service were like not easy ones. There's probably at least 6 people that had real pushback from their families predominantly, saying, we don't want you to get baptized. You were baptized as an infant, or their parents were Catholic, or something else. And people that had been actually going back and forth with their parents for like 2 years about getting baptized. Specifically, 2 stories I would highlight that are really personal for me and cool is a guy named Ermo and Ben. I've actually shared a video before of me talking with Ermo in one of my newsletters, but he was a student I met the day he moved to college in 2019, and he was roommates with this other guy, Ben. And Ermo was the first guy I got to invest in. I'd been praying in 2019, Lord, would you show me 3 men I could invest in? Would you show me 3 guys on this college campus who could be people of peace that I could lead? And so I met Ermo the day he moved into college. It was the day of our first Sunday gathering on campus, and we were running an event that night. I had lived in Bellingham all of 3 months. We had just started trying to reach the campus. The first school year was starting. Ermo moves in. School's starting in like 2 days or whatever. And I meet him, and we start hanging out, and I invite him into a grow group with me where I can start sharing with him what it means to be a Christian, what is sin, who's Jesus, what is salvation, all these things. And he invites his roommate Ben into it as well. And eventually Irmo and Ben both get saved, and now they're members of our site here in Bellingham. And I've been trying to get them to go to Elevate for years, and there's just been so much pushback. And finally they said yes, they went, and I got to baptize both of them this summer. And so that was just a massive, rejoicing moment for me to see the Lord work, and especially as Chris and I are leaving Bellingham in the near future, just kind of a cool a moment to see the first guys I met actually get to be baptized before we go, and see them step out in obedience and just say, yeah, what matters to me most is what Jesus has asked me to do. So just a really, really sweet summer for us both at Elevate. And we had some personal, it was a good summer for us growing. It was probably the hardest summer I've had in San Diego leading. And that was just because there was a number of different challenges and circumstances. One being our housing was kind of weird, and things with our contract we had with the school we go through down there. Just things were shifting around a lot. But it was a sweet learning moment for me, where I was able halfway through the summer to kind of capture all the hard things that were happening. I was actually very thankful for what they were, because when we plant a church, I think those are all going to be the reality. Like having like venue things fall through, and having to be the one who figures out what you do when you're the housing you're going through, or the venue you have for Sunday gathering, or different things don't work out. It's like, that's probably going to happen when we plant a church, and having the experience of saying, hey, you're kind of the point leader for something with people who are looking to you to figure something out and come up with something, and make a new connection or something like that. It was just a cool experience to have. Krista and I got to lead together, being married, which was really sweet, but it is trying to learn how to work together and lead together was just a new experience for us.
Challenging.
We've done mission together, like we've lived together, we've opened our home together, we've been in community together, but like sharing some of that leadership responsibility and doing that together it was a great opportunity to learn, and I think that's obviously going to be incredibly beneficial to us when we plan. So there's some things about this summer that was just like, I gotta tell a friend on the phone this summer, man, God's really good, that he gave me things that I will definitely need when we plant a church. So that was just a sweet thing for me. But what about you?
Yeah, one of the days we had a pastor in the area share a sermon on the good life. So talking about how in Psalm 73, the writer is looking at all these people who are living in the world, and it seems like their lives are just made. He's like, they eat to their content, they have everything they need. Like, why is it me who's following you? Why am I suffering? And talked about how in the end he actually turns to see, actually the best life I can have is one walking with you, Lord. Like, even though the world says these things are what we need for a good life, like, and for my example it would be like buying a house, having a really comfortable salary, or just doing everything I want to do, not having to think first about other people or what my responsibilities are. And I think the Lord has just been teaching me a lot this summer about how actually the best life is to live an obedient life to Him. And so while the world says you need to chase after all these things in the world in order to be happy, He has something so countercultural, just different. And it was sweet getting to come back to Bellingham. And the first night that we got back, we drove in about 4:30, and then we had a couple in the church got married at 6. And then, so we kind of threw our bags in the house. Our house was a wreck.
It's cobwebs everywhere.
And just fruit flies everywhere.
Flies.
Kind of a mess. But then afterwards, 2 of the girls that I led came over, and they got to spend the night. And I think I was realizing I'm just grateful that we are able to live a life where people feel included in our lives. People can come into our lives even though it's messy, and So I think the Lord has just been teaching me that this life that we're living is exactly what he has for us and is his best for us. So that's kind of what we've both been processing through in this season. And since being back in Bellingham, we got to take last week off to kind of soak in a little bit of rest time. Coming back from Elevate and then switching into Bellingham stuff is a little crazy. But last week we got to spend a lot of time outdoors, which is something we love. So we got to go on a hike, and then we got to go on a backpacking trip with two of the girls in our church who are going to be village leaders this year. So it's been a sweet week to kind of rest, reflect a little bit, and kind of do things that we love in order to go back out and kind of get started. So
Yeah, and so now we're back. We just had vacation, like Krista said, for a week, and we did a hike we've been looking at for 3 years. Now we feel the pressure of like we're moving soon, and so all the things we've wanted to do but haven't do, we're like we've got to actually start getting those things done. So and then took a beautiful backpacking trip where we stayed like at a fire lookout right at the base of Baker and Mount Baker, and it was just beautiful. Then got to hike Mount Rainier National Park this last weekend. So that was just been a great week off, but back at work in Bellingham for the first time since the beginning of June. And it's just a different season. I've led our freshman ministry team for the last 3 years, and now I'm not our freshman ministry team leader because we are preparing to plant in Fort Collins at Colorado State University. And so the role just looks different. It's a mixture of passing off what I've learned in Bellingham and the connections I have and the role to a guy I am pouring into named Tim. And I'm excited about that, but it's also a mixture of getting some reps preaching and developing a core team, and just really preparing us as much as possible for planting in Fort Collins. So that's what we're currently working on. This fall is a mixture of leaving well, getting as ready as we can to land in Fort Collins, and then developing more ministry partners and financial partners and prayer partners and all of that stuff as we prepare to move and prepare to step into this next season of life. So we are excited because we have our first core team meeting tomorrow. We have 9 people on our Fort Collins core team. We're really excited about the team we have. We've been prayerful, and we've been intentional with the people we've brought on the team, and we've had multiple voices for each person speak into their character and their competency, and say, yeah, we think that person should go. And so the Lord's really been building a team, and then there's also like 5 people that are kind of in the queue that are processing it still and are going through the application process. And so I know the Lord is still moving, and some people are still processing this church planting in this current season, in this coming city, Fort Collins, for me. And so I'd really ask that you guys would join us in prayer for that. The big prayer request, like probably just to end by even letting you guys in on the prayer requests as we are moving into this next season, is that you pray for Krista and I, that we would have the wisdom to lead and build a team so we can bring people together. That's not that hard. We're pretty much, we're there with 9 of the people. We might have 4 or 5 more that we're working with right now. But now we've got to take that team from just like names to like, this is family who is going to go put their faith and trust completely in the Lord, that he would move, and to the point where they're willing to leave current jobs, to where they're willing to leave current friends, and to where they're going to invest back on the college campus into college students' lives and plant a church, and really say no to chasing all the other things that young professionals want to chase. And it's going to be a hard thing having planted in Bellingham. Like, it's going to be a hard thing. And so we want prayer that we can bring these people together behind that vision as a team that would say, man, we're going to be all we have when we get there, and we've really got to trust each other, because these people don't really know each other right now. Our team is kind of from all over our Resonate Church network of 15 churches. And so we're just really expected that between now and December, God is going to show up in some ways. They're going to be powerful. and that our church is going to really operate out of a conviction that there's people that belong to Jesus on that college campus, and they're not really being reached. Frankly, the zip code for Colorado State University is by far the most underreached zip code in the Colorado Fort Collins area, and so college students are just not really being reached there, and we're excited to see college students be reached with the gospel. And then for more ministry partners, we're praying that God would provide more ministry partners. We've been reaching out to a lot of people now that we're back in Bellingham and back at work, and so we're making a lot of connections, and some of those connections are opening up doors for us that are really sweet. So we're just praying that God would provide financially, because Krista's moving from working full-time to just subbing so she can be very present when we plant the church. And so we're praying that our finances from ministry partnership go up. We're praying for many more prayer partners who regularly pray for us, and that the Lord would protect us, and the Lord would be with us, and that people would be saved, and that He'd be glorified on Colorado State University's campus. So those are some of the big things I think we're praying for right now. Would you add any?
I think that's the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really sums it up.
Probably, actually, the last one would be housing. We're moving in December, so housing can be a little bit interesting. We're just trying to find the right house that's like close to campus, that we can have some other people from the team live with us, and then we can host our Sunday services out of our house for the time being. Until we're at a place where it makes sense to get a place on campus, but also just where college students were willing to walk to it because it's close enough. So really praying for the right housing would be massive. So those are some of the things we're praying for right now. I just want to say again, we're so thankful for you. Thankful that we get to make a video and have you guys actually hear our voice and some of the thoughts and the prayers and the things we're thinking. So just want you guys to know, Krista and I love you guys. We're thankful for a team that's behind us, and it's encouraging to know that it's not just us and these 7 other people so far, but there's at least the 80 out there that are ministry partners with us. So we love you guys. We're thankful for you guys. And we'll be in touch. We'll stay updated, and we'll send more newsletters soon.
Bye.
Bye.